Is there any questions? Michel?
If there is.
I'd like to ask a question about Mula Bandha in relation to pranayama. You never talked about it, so I thought I would ask
If I remember correctly, I gave you a booklet which had a total description of Mool Bandha, Jalandhar Bandha and Udyam.
Yes.
In Lonavala.
Yes, yes you did. Yeah. But could you expand, could you,
When you talk about
different
it in
traditions
relation
have
to
different
practice.
ways of introducing Mula Bandha. And I would like to hear from your own perspective.
If you're teaching, how could you bring it up and introduce it?
You know, in yogic terminology, because as I said, the total effort of there is to direct the pranic energy towards the inner space. Now, then what can be the obstruction? Because it is supposed to, not in a gross form, but in a very subtle form, just like the electricity travels through a thinner wire, or some impulses travel. So it has to enter into, or it has to touch the mouth of Sushumna, which they name Sushumna is one of the important nadi. It is not, we call it nerve, but actually it is not nerve. But there is no substitute word we can use. So nadi, Sushumna, when that force, pranic energy, tries to enter through the awakening of Kundalini, there is shock. Now, you can imagine that shock can take you, the purpose is it must travel upward. It must pass through 3 knots and 6 chakras. So suppose it is that strong that it starts traveling downward with the help of gravity. Then result is not there. You will become more, it is said that you will become more world oriented if it travels downward. It will not take you to inner space. Rather, you will be more stronger, more active on materialistic aspect in the outer world. Now that is not the goal of your practices. With that idea, you are not started the practices. The goal is to take it to upward. Now, therefore, the opening has to be closed. Where the risk is of going down, that impulse should not travel down, it should go up. The opening you have to close. So when closing the technique with which you close the opening is called Mula Bandha. This is in yogic terminology. So because it is fact, means this has been experimented and also it has been experienced by people. So this is something. Then there is another thing is, it can go up from up. Therefore, Jalandhar Bandha closed the glottis, and so this is, and then finally this Udyan Bandha. Now Udyan Bandha is mostly people do not know when it is to be applied. They know it wrongly. They think all three bandhas should be done at the simultaneously. No. Very clear description and practice is that when you have applied the Mool Bandha, inhaled completely, Purak, and then adopted the Jalandhar Bandha, now there is a last phase where you can no more hold the breath. CO2 built up as Medhima, and you want to exhale out the breath, and that is the time where Udyan Bandha to be done. Now Udyan Bandha don't have concept that as you are doing today it will happen, because the air is inside, CO2 is maximum. So you have merely to give like a stroke of Kapalbhati, so that it can touch the pace of Kundalini. Maybe Kundalini gets charged and activated. So they have said, Kumbh Kante, Kumbhak means retention, Ant means end. Kumbh Kante, at the end of the Kumbha, Rech Kadav, before you starting exhalation. Kartavya, it is your duty. You are expected Udyanaka, and you have to do Udyan at that time. Not all three bandhas together, that may harm. So that is the purpose why Mool Bandha is done, so that energy can travel the right way and give you some experience, nice experience.
Tuaraji, you said that when the force travels upwards, it must go through 6 chakras and 3 knots. What are the 3 knots that it must go through?
See, they have named them Brahma Granthi, Vishnu Granthi, Rudra Granthi. They have named here, here, and here. You have to, the pranic energy had to pierce it. Then you go to 7th chakra. See, they have their own terminology, very close to Ayurvedic terms. But these chakras, etc., they are, originally they come from Tantra. We will be exploring this side in this research.
So related to that question, so Granthi is a kind of obstacle?
Huh?
Granthi is a kind of obstacle to...
Obstacle?
Not.
This is Granthi. Not.
For me, this knot is a kind of obstacle to go upward the energy. But it's not obstacle?
Obstacle.
Obstacle.
It is obstacle. It has to be open now. It is a knot, must open.
So originally everybody has 3 knots.
Everyone.
Everyone.
Except those who have practiced in the past life and is starting from the same stage, they don't have.
Does the process of piercing the knots, does that happen simultaneously as it's progressing up through the chakras, the first 6 chakras?
Because 7th is the final stage.
He's wondering if a knot is pierced simultaneously as a chakra opens
No, not is
in that language.
separate.
But would it be that you would go through the
Chakra is
first...
activated, mind it. Chakra is charged. Knot is not charged, it is open. Just like removing the obstacle. Chakra is not the obstacle, remember. As soon as the pranic energy touches it, opens. I am entertaining this question because it is very thing in the 4th chapter.
And would you need all 6 chakras to be opened before you would start piercing the granthis? Or you could be...
No. See the location of granthi, one here, one here, one here. They are totally separate location. Chakras are, see once it is said, the pranic energy touches the kundalini, becomes active. That is why they have given simile of the female cobra, immediately raises the whole, doesn't take much time there. And then slowly, just like when something is creeping on you, with this, then many things happens in between. You hear that sounds of different type of experience, different depth of ecstasy. This consciousness turns into awareness, totally in the inner space, inside you, not outside. Outside you withdraw. That is what they say.
What's the purpose of the granthis? Why do they exist and who found them?
I tell you something. My teacher wanted to prove it, that existence of Kundalini. It is a thing I am telling 1930. So his first disciple, whose Kundalini was awakened, the X-ray was just imported into India. And at that time there was no control of time. He had to close it physically and he was exposed for half an hour. And believe for 60 years he lived with the wound of radiation of 9 inches. Because Swamiji thought we can X-ray the Kundalini, but impossible. But what happened, happened. And for 60 years, he... So there are something which we doubt that it still can be explored. But effort should not be missed. We should keep on trying. Whether it happens, okay. If it doesn't happen,
and why are they there? What would they create? What's their purpose?
She's just asking about why do grantees even exist,
Because the body exists.
Okay. You just made that up.
Something I think that comes out of this is that the process of development and evolution doesn't end with I've become an adult, I procreate, I retire and die. There's more to our being and existence right? And so some of that is unveiling, undoing, discovering. And obviously there's people alive and also long dead that have had such experiences. But the difficulty is it's all subtle, so it's not seen. So understanding, seeing, showing shows that there's more to development of the human being.
Like original
Right.
sin that you have to undo. That will
Well, I'll give you an example, if I may. Yeah.
Please.
Like last week, I was shown a slide from a paper that was just published literally on the 1st of June, and the line is: up to now, science categorically believed that the lymphatic system stopped here, and now, and you're a doctor, you should appreciate this, that the lymphatic system has been shown, and it's only in the last month, that it proceeds up deep into the brain, right, which correlates well with our practices and Kapalabhati and all that. And so they have to change all the textbooks, right? So the system existed, but it had not been identified through, 200 years of solid science till now, till 2 months ago, over the last year. And, it's something similar, okay? Now that's something gross, but very, subtly gross, okay? But something similar within our functioning operation that could be, that is there, that we live with, that maybe is not identified, but could yet waiting to be identified. So.
There are so many things. Those concepts needs a little, I think, very subtle approach. And then maybe, because they have very systematically described the things. There is no ambiguity. And it is more, perhaps what I think is, it was more intuitive coming out and happening. Then it was becoming our experience. So, because the texts are full of these descriptive things, and see, we experimented, and recently we have experimented on a person who goes into deep meditation merely by thought. And we have to have more. Before that also we experimented. So there stay the state where you really can go inside and be with yourself. Now, say, but there is another which is still to be proved, but for us it is proved. They say that these, you call it neurons or call it cells, they say mind cells are all over your body. They are not at one, the mind is all over your body. When you just with meditational technique withdraw them and withdraw at the center of this, you become thoughtless. Now, we say this, but it has to be in modern time to be proved. Because so long thoughts are continuously going on like a crowd, you cannot enter into that space. And every philosophical approach, practical aspect, only aim how to reduce or eliminate for some time nothing there. See, look at the mantra. Why do you recite mantra? Their vibration is different, but there is when you recite it, thought should not come. You will be with that mantra. So for some time, if you can be without thought, that prepares the ground for a real meditation. Otherwise, closing the eyes and you say, I am meditating, not a meditation, that is a concentrated effort of attention. So, this is something which they said, but today it has to be proved what really it is. Because they say, I am just referring in relation with the 4th chapter only. That is why I entertain this question. See, in Hatha Yoga and Tantra, the approach was different. Tantric approach was different. Hatha Yoga, when took some practices from Tantra, it twisted. It turned that way that it can be easily be practiced. Though the credit goes to Tantra only, the concepts we borrowed in Hatha Yoga comes from Tantra. And there were many divisions of Tantra. Shaivism from Kashmir, from South, from Benares, from Nepal. But one thing has remained, they all carry the same goal, that we should reach a state where we become thoughtless. And thoughtless state turns into the ecstasy. Automatically. So you see even when you are doing fire, say what is the purpose? You are worshipping sun, that is very good. You are worshipping his daughter, fire. But what is inside, why you are doing this? Don't think anything else except be busy with the mantra and concentrate on fire. They have invented, adopted many things, but the fundamental question is that this mind which is constantly thinking, not allowing you to be without thought, should be brought to a point where you are thoughtless. Analyze any practice of any philosophy. See, in bhakti, say devotion, they sing, the drum is beaten, why? Because you become somewhere concentrated that no worldly thoughts are coming. They dance, they worship the idol. They want you to be one with that. And when you are one with that, thoughts are not there. You have to flow with that. That is why they say they don't worship idol, but they worship some principle in the idol. And that requires your sincerity, not seriousness. Total sincerity. Doesn't matter you are practicing for 15 minutes, but don't miss the point that the goal is to become thoughtless. Mind's activity must be calm. So when we will start, you will see they talk of, in 4th chapter you will find Nad, Bindu, Kala. These 3 concepts are there. Now, Nad, all these 3 words, they are technical, they have been borrowed from Tantra. But the meaning in Hatha Yoga is different. Nad is called the sound aroused with the practice of mudras, with awakening of Kundalini. When Kundalini gets awakened and prana start moving, as soon as the granthis are open, you start hearing some sound, which are called technically anahat. Ahat means striking. Anahat means without striking. But sounds are so melodious that the meditation is not disturbed. You are already touched the inner space. So different type of sound, birds, drum, gong, different type of sound may come. And they say that will help you to concentrate, that will help you to become thoughtless. As it goes on, Bindu in Sanskrit means the zero. In Tantra it means the semen. But in Hatha Yoga it takes you to the state which Buddhists call the Shunya Avastha or Nirvana. So it says this is the Nad becomes the route to take you to that point of the Shunya Samadhi. And Kala means in Tantra it is some practice. In yoga it is taking you beyond the time. Then when once you enter into Samadhi, you do not know what is past, what is present and what is future. So these Nad, Bindu, Kala is a part of Hatha Yoga. And they think this all happens once the Kundalini gets away. You start hearing the Anahat, the sound. You start becoming the total centered, we should say. The Shunya, zero. No thinking, nothing. No imagination. And Kala, you have no concept of time then. You are beyond time. But this all happens once the Kundalini is awakened. Then that is why Patanjali, as I said yesterday, Patanjali does not say that dharana, concentration, meditation and integration, samadhi has to be, you can do it, no. It has to happen as a result of your doing. And what happens when you do something, something happens. You experience something and you become something. Then there is a transformation. So this, the total effort that you are doing not to do something, you are doing to experience something which is deeper, which generally you don't experience. And once that happens, you are transforming. You feel that something, your vision becomes broader. You are not self-centered. You are not self-conscious. You become conscious of the self. So that change, if it does not happen, then there must be some reason. But the purpose is, we will discuss in detail, the purpose is only that it is not that you are practicing whole day, no. Find out some time where you can practice with sincerity. Flow with the breath. If you are practicing pranayama, flow with the breath. Practicing asana, be with it. But don't become dependent. So, that is something which again and again, that is why the importance of real Guru is expressed, not Guru like me. They say, they say, if you come to know that your teacher talks much, knows a little, Jnanhino Guru Tyajya. Jnana means knowledge, practical knowledge, anubhav, experience. If you come to know that he only talks, he doesn't know, leave him, reject him. Mithyachari, who only gives sermon, but does not practice at all. Vidambaka, he shows the very, very golden hopes to you. So Vishranti na janami, he doesn't know what is peace inside. Pareshan sa karotikam, how can he give peace to others? Such teachers must be thrown out. Don't hesitate. So this is, otherwise they have said, Guru Deshta Margena Yoga Meva Sadabhyase, you need a teacher who should guide you properly. Otherwise, many times it happens, many things we don't understand. And then we try to imagine maybe this, maybe that, maybe this, maybe that. That is not a good thing. Your teacher should be able to direct you properly. He can, because it is based on his experience. It's not merely based on reading on books. So it happens many times. I tell you something, in India there was a very famous yogi, very famous yogi. Thousands and thousands of people were followed. So we are always in search of such people who can offer themselves for the experiments. So we invited him. That Swamiji, we want to, it will help us to prove something which is yogic. He agreed. He came. The electroencephalograph was fixed. We have a room soundproof, electrically shielded, where we have also tape recorder. So it is AC, like as if in the atmosphere of the cave. So after 5 minutes, he started snoring. We allowed it to continue. Very famous. And after half an hour, we pushed the bell. He asked me, Tiwari, how was it? I said, Swamiji, you were sleeping. No. Then we opened the tape recorder. And he said, Tiwari, don't tell anyone. So this is also, you see, sometimes, that is why always they have said, don't be after fame, be after practices. Because with fame you will not have time to practice. You will be pleasing the people only. And you will lose what you are having. You will forget. Only you will see, So therefore, They say Abhyas Sarani Vidya. The knowledge needs the practices because the experience must be repeated. Buddhi karmanusarana. Intellect comes by your karmas. But the experience comes by your abhyas, by practice. So the fourth chapter practically deals with this concept only, that what will happen and how are the 4 stages of the growth. Introductory state, second stage, third and final of this. Just like Patanjali has 4 types of samadhi. And 5th chapter is very important. I would like to do that first, then 4th one, because that deals with the therapy. So that will be how we will proceed.
Without questions?
Yes,
Nadia?
whatever.
Vaidehi, I was wondering, when we're on our cycle, is it the women? So is it, I was wondering, do you apply the mantras the same way?
Oh yeah, mantra?
Yeah.
Oh, same way. There is no restriction.
And the other question that I had, with the granthis, when they are unraveling, is it an uncomfortable feeling? Is it a feeling that, or is it something that kind of manifests into a physical feeling, or does it just emotionally affect you?
No, when granthi opens, only one sensation comes, as if someone has pricked pin in you. But not torture.